My name is Adilson de Oliveira. I'm a Portuguese South African visual artist, writer, and animator. Yeah, I'm part of a collective called the Magolide Collective, but now I've kind of branched into a lot of solo work. I was born in Johannesburg, South Africa, close to the CBD in a place called Vila. My dad is Soriano, he's from Terceira. My grandfather came here basically for work. My mom was born in South Africa. She's the daughter of two Portuguese immigrants and bounced between Mozambique and South Africa. My kind of Lusophonic roots tend to kind of find itself within the colonial kind of histories of the Portuguese. And as we know, the regime of Estado Novo wasn't kind to a large majority of the Portuguese population. And then currently now with my solo body of work, it focuses heavily on the Johannesburg kind of Portuguese South African communities. At times incredibly negative, and then kind of trying to deal with kind of a very specific brand of South African Portuguese masculinity that kind of erupted as a response, I guess, to the Apartheid regime, to the forced kind of exodus from both Portugal, Angola, Mozambique. And a lot of them ended up running fruit and veg stores or corner stores. And a common phrase that kind of started was no change, take Chappies. What the corner store owners would do is say you went to the store to buy bread, milk, whatever for your parents. You would pay 10 Rand, there would be maybe 1 Rand change, and they would, instead of giving you change, you would take Chappies, which is a specific bubblegum of South Africa, which was like half a cent at the time. And that's kind of then the concept of this show is a lot of the men that I grew up with as a child, I saw them as, heroes. I idealized them. In a way, as I get older, I realized that the men in my family gave me cheap bubblegum that didn't last very long. It loses its favor quickly in the terms of kind of life lessons, instead of the change that would have been long lasting for myself. So that's kind of what this show kind of grapples with. The reason I choose artificial intelligence for the show is a lot of the kind of skill sets that these men that I grew up with had are kind of being replaced by machines from the fourth industrial revolution. So then I chose to use AI to kind of replicate the likeness of these men, because obviously I didn't really want to use their images for my own kind of ethical reasons. Other reason that I chose to use AI was to make work that looks like it's handmade. It then gives you kind of that feeling of not getting any change, but being given bubblegum. It loses its flavor quickly. It's not an actual real artwork. Placing them in places like soccer fields down by La Rochelle, or in corner stores that I frequent quite a lot, and kind of photographing the AI replications of these men in those spaces and kind of shifting it into reference images for my drawings. It's just this constant feedback loop of AI generated to my hand-drawn stuff back into the PC. And because a lot of these men unfortunately have passed away at a young age, that's when the AI becomes incredibly important for me to access memory. Very few Portuguese people were vocally against the Apartheid regime. They actually, in a way, kind of agreed with it. They weren't treated as first-class citizens by the Apartheid regime, but they still didn't do anything to kind of push back against that. That's kind of why I did the whole show in grayscale, monochromatic black and white, and large parts of gray, because, these conversations aren't black and white. They are a mix of the two. But I'm excited, and my gallerist, Charles Bezaidenhout, is kind of behind the show, the work, and kind of giving me a chance to talk about where I come from and the people that I grew up with and my story. I think the message, always accept cultures that are different to yours, and being forced to kind of arrive to a place that's new and foreign to you, and finding a way to kind of fight, survive, and grow roots in that place for generations to come. So I'd say that would be the message.